Today, we're going to talk about the mysterious deaths of 5 kids in 2006 that happened in Taiwan. Till this day, the Taiwan police could not figure out why the kids were murdered in such a brutal manner. The case brought us to Hualien Country, a place located on the east coast of Taiwan. In September of 2006, Hualien police received a phone call from members of the public, complaining that a foul smell was emanating from a residential townhouse unit. When the police arrived at the scene, the smell was terrible. The area consists of mostly 3-story townhouse units. The neighbors were able to pinpoint the source of the smell was coming from this particular unit. They told the police that they had not seen the owner and his family for the past few days. During this time, the smell became worse and worse. The police tried knocking on the door, but there wasn't any response. In the end, they forced open the front door and went into the unit. They turned on the lights, looked around the house, and tried to find where the smell was coming from. They searched the first and second floors of the house but found nothing. It wasn't until they went up to the 3rd floor that the smell became stronger, as one of the officers opened one of the room door. What he saw next was shocking. 5 bodies were crammed into a small bathroom. Their hands and legs were tied with wire, and they had adhesive tape on their faces and plastic bags over their heads. The windows and the door of the bathroom were sealed with adhesive tape. As the police looked around the house for evidence, they found a piece of paper and a $1,000 Taiwanese note. Someone had scribbled a small note on both items, stating that there was a kidnap and the kids were in danger. Please call the police. The police did not find any signs of break-ins. The strange thing was that the front door was locked from the inside. They also found 3 cigarette butts in the bathroom where the bodies were discovered. Upon testing, the DNA on the cigarette did not match the owner. It belongs to one of the owner's friend. His friend was brought in for questioning by the police. He told police that he was at the owner's house a few days ago before the crime happened. He said he threw the cigarette butts on the 1st floor, but had no idea how they ended up in the bathroom instead. The owner's friend was let go after he was able to prove that he was not at the scene when the crime took place. According to the police investigation, the owner of the house was a 48-year-old man, Liu. Liu was living with his 35-year-old wife, Lin, and their 5 children. The 5 deceased include Liu's 18-year-old and 17-year-old sons and a 12-year-old daughter, all from Liu's previous marriage, and a 9-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son from his marriage to Lin. Both of them were nowhere to be found when the 5 bodies were discovered. The police were not able to contact them through their cell phone. Their cell phones were turned off at that point of time. Were they kidnapped? Police dismissed the idea as no ransom call was received by their families. A few days later, police discovered Liu's abandoned car at a nearby train station. After reviewing one of the CCTVs outside the train station, they saw Liu and his wife getting out of the car, but did not return. There were several pieces of evidence that led police to believe that Liu and his wife murdered their 5 kids. The police discovered Liu's partial fingerprints on the adhesive tape, which was used to seal the bathroom door where the bodies were found. They found a camcorder at Liu's house. Inside the camcorder's memory card, they discover a gruesome picture of Liu trying to tie up one of their deceased daughter with nylon ropes. There were rumors that the camcorder recovered at the crime scene captured the entire process of Liu and his wife murdering their 5 children, but it was denied by the police. A hardware shop owner told police Liu went to his shop late at night to purchase tools. Police suspect he was using them for the murders. While searching Liu's house, the police found bottles of animal anesthesia. The animal anesthesia found was mostly used by local fishermen to catch fishes. After an investigation, the police found the bottles of animal anesthesia belonged to Liu. He got them from a friend. Liu's friend told police that he wanted to pass the bottles of animal anesthesia to another friend's son for research purposes. Police believe Liu used the bottles of animal anesthesia to weaken his children before tying up their limbs and suffocating them with trash bags over their heads. Based on police deductions, Liu's 3 sons were killed on September 4th. According to their teachers, they were not in school the next day and did not call in to report sick. when their teachers called their house. Their mom told them they were sick and had forgotten to call the school to report sick. During this time, Liu's daughters were not aware that their brothers had been killed. The next day, on September 5th, both daughters were subsequently killed after school that night, which explains why they were in school uniforms when their bodies were found. What was the motive for Liu's killing of his 5 kids? The police ran a background check on Liu's financial status and discovered he was deeply in debt at the time of the murder. At the point of time, Liu owned several photo and imaging companies, but he was maxing out his credit card to cover his business losses. Liu's relatives also told police that he was in debt and often borrow money from them. The police believe Liu killed his 5 kids because he wanted to avoid the financial burden, with Liu and his wife becoming the main suspects for the murders. The police launched a state manhunt for the couple. Posters of them were pasted everywhere in the state of Hualien and nearby states. They were also on every news outlet. The police received lots of tip-off from members of the public claiming that they saw the couple, but none of them proved to be credible. After a year of manhunting, the couple were still not found. With no leads as to their whereabouts and no more public tip-off coming in, the case remained unsolved. After the murders, there were a lot of ghostly encounters by people who visited the house. One female reporter claimed that she felt 5 people were following her after she went to the house. A few of Liu's neighbors also told the reporters that they had seen the dead kids around the neighborhood. A neighbor living next to Liu reported hearing strange noises from Liu's house every night. Eventually, she could not take it anymore and moved out. The house was rented out after the murders, but all the tenants who stayed there moved out after 2 months. Nobody knew why they moved out. In 2015, 9 years after the murders, a local hunter was setting up traps in the jungles of Hualien when he discovered 2 skulls. At first, he thought they were animal skulls. Then he saw there were shoes nearby, and he immediately called the police. The police discovered there were sleeping bags, personal belongings, bottles of pesticide and human remains at the scene. After DNA verification, the human remains belonged to Liu and his wife. Police believe the couple committed suicide by consuming the bottles of pesticide. Till today, the police in charge of the case were still baffled why the couple wanted to take the lives of their 5 children. But the couple had taken the truth with them to their graves. After revisiting Liu's house in 2018, reporters found out that someone had already moved into Liu's house. Neighbors told reporters that Liu and his family mostly kept to themselves most of the time. They also mentioned that Liu prohibited his kids from interacting with them. The police captain in charge of the case mentioned that Liu had a drinking and temper problem when he was alive. While drunk, Liu reportedly told neighbors that something bad was going to happen in the neighborhood a few days before the murders. All the evidence suggests that the entire murder plan was well thought out. It did not seem like Liu and his wife killed their 5 kids on impulse, with Liu's bad temper and controlling character adding to his financial woes. I believe they were the contributing factors to why he decided to murder his 5 kids. His wife, most likely manipulated by him, participated in the murders. It's just tragic that 5 innocent lives were lost at the hands of this controlling, cold-blooded, and manipulative freak. Subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.